Greetings everyone. In this module we are going to learn about cell, its structure and functions. Cell is a structural and functional unit of all living organisms. They are the basic building blocks of all living things. They are of various shapes and sizes. The size and shape of a cell depends upon the function the cell performs. All cells are microscopic. New cells arise from old existing cells. So these points give us a basic introduction about what a cell is. Coming to the discovery of a cell, in 1665, Robert Hooke, an English scientist, observed slices of cork from a bark of a tree under a simple magnifying glass. He noticed small boxes or compartments in the cork slice. The boxes were separated from each other by a wall or a partition as seen in this diagram. He named each box as a cell. The cells which Hooke observed were actually dead cells of a plant. Soon after Robert Hooke discovered cells in cork, Anton van Leeuwenhoek, a scientist from Holland, made other important discoveries using a microscope. Leeuwenhoek was the first person to observe living human cells and the bacteria. Coming to the cell theory, in 18th century, that is in 1839, a cell theory was proposed by three German scientists. They are Schleiden, Schwann and Virchow. Cell theory describes the properties of cells. It states all living organisms are made of cells. The cell is the basic unit of life. New cells arise from old cells. Now coming to the shape of cells, we see cells or we have cells of different shapes. As we said earlier, the shape of a cell depends upon the function the cell performs. Some cells can be spherical, they can be round, they can be elongated, spindle shaped or branched. Let us just see the cells of different shapes. Here you see this is a nerve cell which is longest cell inside our body, and this is branched. This peculiar shape of the cell depends upon the function it does. The function of nerve cell, also called as neuron, is to transmit messages from the brain to the different body parts and vice versa. These cells are the muscle cells, which are spindle shaped. The function of these cells is to help in contraction and relaxation of the muscles. The cells here, these are the red blood cells which are enucleated. They are enucleated because to increase the surface area for transportation of oxygen. Now this is amoeba. It's a complete organism, a unicellular organism, and it can change its shape so that it can move forward and capture or eat the food particles. To take in food for the process of ingestion, amoeba changes its shape. Now this is your white blood cells, which also have ability to change shape. This is the only cell inside a human body that can change shape. Again, it depends upon the function it does, that is to destroy the foreign materials or germs entering inside our body. So remember, amoeba and white blood cells, these are the two cells which can change shape. Coming to the cells, these are few examples of different cells with different shape inside our body. Coming to the size of the cells, they are again of different sizes. They may be as small as millionth of a meter, that is micrometer or micron, or large as few centimeters. The smallest cell is the cell of bacteria, which can range from zero point 0.1 to 0.5 micrometer. And the largest cell is the egg of an ostrich, which can be 17 centimeters to 13 centimeters. Now, based on number of cells present in an organism, the organisms are classified into two groups. Multicellular organisms, the organisms which are made up of many cells, example tree, elephant, and many other animals like rat, cat, dog, algae, fungi. Now there are organisms which are made up of one cell, which are known as unicellular organisms. Example, bacteria, amoeba, paramecium, and from the group of fungi we have yeast, which is a unicellular organism. Now coming to the cell structure, all the cells have three basic parts. As you can see here, the cell membrane, cytoplasm, nucleus. Let us learn about each part in detail. The first part, that is the outermost covering of the cell, which is known as cell membrane. The cell membrane gives shape to the cell, protects the inner parts of the cell, and allows movement of materials in and out of the cell. In plant cells, the cell membrane is covered by another thick covering called cell wall, which we are going to learn in the coming slides. Now here you can also see the cell structure of the cell membrane, which is made up of proteins and lipids. Coming to cytoplasm, it is the jelly-like substance between the cell membrane and nucleus. As you can see here, the light blue color is nothing but the cytoplasm. It contains other components of the cell, which are known as cell organelles, the very small parts of the cell organelles like mitochondria, Golgi bodies, ribosomes, vacuoles, etc. All these cell organelles are found in the cytoplasm, and all the major functions, metabolic activities of a cell takes place in the cytoplasm of the cell. Cytoplasm and nucleus together forms the protoplasm of the cell. Protoplasm is the entire living content of the cell, including the cytoplasm and the nucleus. Coming to the third very important part of the cell, the control center of the cell, nucleus. The nucleus is separated from the cytoplasm by a covering which is known as nuclear membrane. It has smaller spherical body called nucleolus inside it. Okay, a nucleus has a small rounded spherical body which is known as nucleolus, which helps in protein synthesis. And we also see certain thread-like structures inside the cell, which is the genetic material of the cell, right? And that is known as chromatin. Now this chromatin organizes into rod-like structures which are known as chromosomes. And these chromosomes can be seen only during the time of cell division. The chromatin organizing into thread-like structures will be seen at the time a cell is ready to divide. These chromosomes are made up of DNA. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. So chromosomes are made of DNA and proteins. Now segments of DNA are called genes. Segments of DNA are called as genes. Now genes are helpful in transmission of characters from the parents to the offspring. I repeat, chromosomes are made of DNA. DNA have genes on them, and genes are responsible for transmission of characters from the parents to the offspring. Let us look into the structure of nucleus. Here you see, this is the nuclear membrane, nucleolus, chromatin, thread-like structure chromatin. Then we have the nuclear membrane also have pores on it. You can see here nuclear pore we call them. Now these pores allow in movement of the substances in the from the nucleus into the cytoplasm. Now coming to the part that is cell wall, an extra layer around the plant cells as said before. Now this cell wall, it's an additional tough, flexible and rigid layer that surrounds cell membrane in plant cells, in the group of fungi and even bacteria. So cell wall is not only found in plant cells but also seen in fungal members and in bacteria. Now, why do these organisms have an extra layer? This cell wall provides definite shape, strength, and rigidity to these cells. It also provides support and protection against mechanical stress and physical shock. It helps to control cell expansion due to the intake of water, also helps in preventing water loss from the cell. Let me also tell you the cell wall in plants is made up of cellulose, which is a complex carbohydrate. Whereas in bacteria, the cell wall is made up of pectin, a protein. Okay, let us see the difference and the similarities between animal cell and plant cell. As we can clearly see in this diagram, both the cells, animal cell and the plant cell, they have cell membrane, they have cytoplasm and nucleus. So these three features, the cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus, are the similarities between animal cell and plant cell. Coming to the differences, we can clearly see here the plant cell has a single large vacuole. As you can clearly see here, the cytoplasm contains a single large vacuoles in plant cell, whereas animal cells do not have a large vacuole. Another major difference is the presence of an extra layer in plant cell, which is known as cell wall. This is an extra additional layer found in plant cells, whereas an animal cell lacks the cell wall. There is no cell wall in animal cell. The outer covering is the cell membrane. Coming to the third difference, we can see certain special structures which are known as chloroplast. Let me remind you, we have learnt about chloroplast. Chloroplast are structures which contain the green pigment chlorophyll, and these are found in plant cells only, and they are absent in animal cells. I hope the three similarities and the three differences are clear to all of you. Moving on to another very important concept. When we look into the onion peel cells in the microscope, we can see the structures like this. Now this is a diagram under a simple light microscope wherein we cannot see the cell organelles, but we can see the cell membrane, the cell wall and the nucleus. Now on the basis of presence of nuclear membrane, cells are classified into two categories. Those are prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. Let us first learn about what is a prokaryotic cell. The word pro means primitive, old, primitive, and the word karyon refers to nucleus. So, cells with a primitive nucleus, not a well-developed nucleus. So the cell without a well-developed or a well-defined nucleus and nuclear membrane is a prokaryotic cell. The genetic material, that is, the chromosome, is dispersed in the cytoplasm and is referred to as nucleoid. The prokaryotic cells do not have a nucleus, but instead they have the genetic material dispersed in the cytoplasm, which is referred to as nucleoid. Now these organisms, the organisms with prokaryotic cells, are called prokaryotes. Example, bacteria and blue-green algae. Blue-green algae is also known as cyanobacteria. So let us see the diagram of this. Very clearly we can see this is a bacteria, a lactobacillus, okay, which contain the nucleoid. You can see this nucleoid here in the cytoplasm. It doesn't have any nucleus. There is no nuclear membrane around the genetic material, right? So this is the major thing what we should focus on, the presence and absence of nucleus. As here in this cell there is no nucleus without a nuclear membrane, this cell is grouped as a prokaryotic cell. Coming to the next cell, there is a eukaryotic cell. The word eu refers to true, and the word karyon, as said before, it is the nucleus. So here we can see a cell with a round nucleus, with a well-developed nucleus, which is also surrounded by a nuclear membrane. And we can see the genetic material inside the nucleus. Such type of cells with a well-developed nucleus and with a nuclear membrane around it will be referred to as a eukaryotic cell. See, cell with a well-defined nucleus and a nuclear membrane is a eukaryotic cell. Except bacteria and blue-green algae, all the organisms, including the fungi, the algae, the plants, the animals, all of them except bacteria and blue-green algae are called eukaryotes, as they have a eukaryotic cell. So this is all about cell based on the structure, the shape, the size, and presence and absence of nucleus. See you all in the next module with the cell organelles. Thank you.